No Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jet, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back for another video, Week 1 Jets-Bills recap. I am your host, Joe Skirto, as always, a.k.a. Turn Up the Jets, yada, yada. Subscribe to the channel, whatever. Follow me on X and Instagram. You know the deal. I don't give a shit right now. The fact is, Aaron Rodgers made his debut, and after 4 snaps, got carried off the field and has officially ruptured his Achilles and is out for the entire 2023 season. And no, this is not a nightmare. This is the real thing. Aaron Rodgers is done after 4 freaking snaps, 3 backdrops, and 3 passes. He had 0 seconds. We're talking about these blocks. It's kind of these crack blocks or whatever the hell you call it. In terms of the tackles, and you know, the Jets are one of the few teams that wanted to do it. Rodgers didn't want to implement it. They did it all 3 times. Rodgers was running for his life, even though, yes, he did have a guy in the slant. Should have thrown it earlier. Should have, could have, would have. Dwayne Brown also could have made the block. I'm not going to look too much into that. You're just going to drive yourself insane if you look too much into it. The fact of the matter is, and the reality is, Aaron Rodgers will not be playing for the rest of the year. We built this up for 5 months to get 4 plays. And I can't even say the Jet will jet because it's no one's fault. It's just the world hates the Jets. The luck, just the bad, brutal luck continues. And guess who was in the coin toss? Of course it was Vinny Testaverde. Of course Vinny Testaverde was in the coin toss. It was the same thing after they made the AFC Championship in 98. They were supposedly the best team coming in that following year. He ruptures his Achilles diving for a fumble. They're down. Keyshawn Johnson's crying at the podium. Whatever, their season's done for. The Jets trade for Aaron Rodgers in April, and Super Bowl expectations immediately arise. They thought and knew that this team was a QB away from something special, and last night proved it, but unfortunately they weren't able to do it with number 8. I'm obviously, just heartbroken. Being in that stadium during that, I felt like I was at a funeral times a million. It was that depressing as soon as he got hurt. It's just, there's a lot of factors. I know a lot of people want to focus on the blocking or Rodgers getting the ball out quicker and establishing the run earlier. It's going to drive everyone insane. It is what it is. And the Jets still have 16 games left to play. Is Aaron Rodgers going to retire? I'm not sure. That is obviously the clear question. Is he going to go through the hell that comes with the rehab, especially rehabbing an injury like the Achilles? Is he going to go through that, or is he just going to call it quits? In my personal opinion, no, I do not think he's going to retire. I find it hard to believe that he would go out that way, especially what the Jets have here. He's clearly happy in New York, or was happy where the team was heading. He was a 90% retiring, but really wanted to play for the Jets. Of course, this could be it. And if that was, it would be, this is just one of the most tragic injuries ever. Literally. The buildup to this was so insane. And for him to be injured in 4 plays is just, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. All the Jets fans, but I'm not a guy saying, hey, the season's over. Like, come on, will you please? Like, let's not act like we haven't been through shit before. I want to focus still that Rodgers is hurt, and I'll get into the recap. Of course, the Jets won. The Jets are 1-0. That's what's crazy. Getting on here, recapping the game in a game that they won, but still sad. It's a bittersweet moment. They win, but almost at what cost? It's going to be the biggest Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Because I'll tell you right now, this team would have been legitimately a top 4 team in the league. If they had Aaron Rodgers yesterday, it's a double-digit game. There's no overtime. There's no return punt. There's none of that. This game is over going into the fourth quarter. The Jets were the better team with Zach Wilson at quarterback. They were the better defense. They had the better playmakers. They had the better run game. Wilson had a better completion percentage. He turned the ball over less. They were the better team without Rodgers. So obviously the big question, and we'll definitely be following that, as everyone will be, what's the next step here? Is he going to retire? Is he going to go through the surgery and play next season? Obviously everybody in New Jersey and in New York or wherever you are, every Jets fan is hoping that he goes through the rehab and we see him next year. I think he's way too competitive, and I think it would be way too of a what-if scenario. And I don't think Rodgers wants that. What if? That's when you start regretting things. What if I did this? What if I didn't retire? What if I did go through the rehab? Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, guys that are close to him, especially AJ Hawk, they don't see him retiring. Not like they have any sources. Well, they do have him, but not like he's told them that. I think they're just knowing the kind of person he is, knowing the competitor he is. They'll be shocked, as would I, if he retires after this. But, man, I mean, talk about one of the most electric environments, and then, boom, everyone's knocked out of the game. And then the Jets win. The Jets won the game. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Zach Wilson came in there in first quarter in the 5th play of the game. He probably had, the feelings that he had in that scenario, that everyone's there for the guy who just got hurt. The last time he was on the field, he was getting booed off of that same turf field. By the way, get rid of the turf. I mean, my goodness gracious. That's a different discussion for a different day, but Lord. But he goes 14 for 21. He's got a touchdown, a pick. The pick, obviously, Matt Milano was bad. But after the pick, he was pretty good. He was 9 for 13, 99 yards and a touchdown. And supposedly Nathaniel Hackett went up to him like, dude, Zach, relax. You're good, man. And I think that's the confidence he needed. I don't think he had that in Matt LaFleur. Hackett was calm, cool, and collected, trying to give him some confidence. And I think that he's learned so much in so little time between Rodgers and Hackett and all those other guys that I think it established almost the confidence. And there was players even saying that Wilson was the one who spoke up at halftime. And by the way, they were down 13-3. They come out of half, they kick a field goal, it's 13-6. And then I'm thinking at the game, it's one more touchdown and this game might be over, right? 20-6. Like I don't see the Jets scoring back-to-back touchdowns. Well, it didn't go that way. Josh Allen played a terrible game. He turned the ball over 4 times, 3 interceptions for Jordan Whitehead. And Saleh wasn't bluffing here. He said if he had 3 or 4 interceptions, if he caught 3 or 4 balls that he should have last year, he would have been an all-pro safety. He would have been a Pro Bowl safety. Guess what? He caught all 3 yesterday. One of them was more so a long punt, but the next play, Breece Hall, who I'm going to get into in a little bit, had that 80-yard run. But this defense is for real. The amount of pressures that they had. So John Franklin Myers led it with 8 pressures. I believe Quinnen had about 5. He also had 11 tackles. Huff had about 3. I mean, Allen had no time. They love disrupting Allen, and they have done a great job, especially the last 3 times that they played each other, and they beat him 2 out of the 3 times. The Jets' defense is his kryptonite. He's played 3 horrendous games, and this was the worst out of the 3, in my opinion. Even worse than the one last year, the first time they played him, when they also beat him with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is 2-1 against Josh Allen. Let that sink in. 2-1 against the Bills. It's crazy. I mean, of course, highlighted by the punt in overtime. Xavier Gibson is 62-yard punt return for a touchdown. He was the Hard Knocks really favorite slash unsung hero out of Stephen F. Austin. And he returns the kick to win the game in overtime. I mean, you got to feel great for that kid. It's like the emotions there, the environment. That's the cool thing. The fans, it kind of was like, okay, this sucks at halftime, right? It's 13-3. They're speculating Achilles. I'm on my phone trying to see what the hell's going on because I don't hear the announcers. But then they go down, they kick a field goal, they get some turnovers. Garrett Wilson has that insane catch on 2nd and goal. And that same drive, Wilson extended a 3rd down play. He's basically falling over, finds a wide open Allen Lazard. Lazard makes a couple of nice moves, gains a little more after the catch. Also, Wilson put his head down and a broken play, ran into about like the 3-ish yard line. And that's when, 2 plays later, Wilson had that acrobatic catch, 13-13. The fans are in it, man. They're in it to win it. Allen, next drive, fumbles. They kind of milked the clock. They kicked the field goal, and then Bass a little dink and dunk at the end of the game with 6 seconds left to tie it. 3 and out, and like I said, rest is history. Gibson returns the punt. Environment was electric. Got to give it to the credit to the fans. You got to give credit to the team, and this is what I was talking about. These players love Robert Saleh. They play hard as hell for Robert Saleh, and it showed yesterday. Like, this is the guy. This is the coach. And I know it's going to be all year. If they don't make the playoffs, should they fire Douglas and should they fire Saleh? Like, if Rodgers is coming back next year, there's no shot in hell they do any of that. Because that wouldn't even make sense. Like, they invested all of this to go all in this year to get Rodgers, and he gets hurt after 4 plays. If he wants to come back, you're not just going to fire Saleh and Douglas. The guy initially brought him in here to do what they want to do, and that's to win a championship. This is a championship defense. It's a really good 1-2 punch. Breece Hall looked unbelievable. Unbelievable. He had like 10 carries for 127 yards and an additional reception for 20 yards. 13 yards. He averaged 13 yards every time he had the ball in his hand. The dude is the real deal. That was 10 carries. When he gets back to being a workhorse, it's only going to help Wilson more. And guess what? You still have Dalvin Cook. Cook only averaged about 2.5 yards yesterday. That's fine, though. He made some good plays. He is the blanket out of the backfield. He can catch well out of the backfield. That 1-2 punch is going to be crucial to help Zach Wilson. Breece Hall looked tremendous. Obviously, Garrett Wilson didn't have that Garrett Wilson game that we thought he was gonna. I mean, understandably so, but he made the biggest play of the game. And that's why he's going to be a star. Get the ball in his hands. I think Lazard had some nice grabs as well. It's possible. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. Like, their chances are still the same. No, they went from being plus 1,800, so 18-1 odds to win the Super Bowl, to plus 3,500, 35-1 odds overnight, and they won. This is the game they won. So, of course, are the odds stacked against them? Yes. But my thing is, you got Dallas coming up, establish the run, play really good defense. And when they had Breece Hall, they were 5-2 to do that. It really just kind of started going to shit once Breece Hall got hurt, and they didn't have a Dalvin Cook to step in. They had a trade for James Robinson, who was terrible, and I think he's been dropped by 3 teams since. Michael Carter was really underwhelming last year. Bam Knight was an undrafted rookie free agent who came in and was really the only productive one, and then kind of started to fade at the end. They got more depth. They got a better team this year. They got better weapons. Like, their number 2 last year was Braxton Berrios at one point. Now they have Garrett Wilson. They have Allen Lazard. Didn't really see much of Hardman or Cobb, but they have those two. This Gibson kid looks like a stud, whether it's on special teams or he gets some chances to really, use that big play ability, even on the offensive side with some gadget plays, maybe along with Hardman, of course. Brownlee didn't even play. So, defense in the run game, yes. Is it going to be easy to game plan for them? Of course, but they got to get somehow creative. But the thing is, Zach Wilson is their guy. And Saleh made it clear right after the game yesterday when he basically said that it's not good. announced today it's officially Achilles. Rodgers is done. And they are going to look into veteran options, but he said it's no competition. It's really a veteran backup. I don't think they feel, I mean, nobody feels comfortable, no offense to Tim Boyle, of him being, the backup and coming in to the game if Wilson, God forbid, got hurt or struggled. There definitely are some options. You look at Carson Wentz, you look at Nick Foles, you could look at trade pieces, kind of more of an outside chance, but like a Jameis Winston or Gardner Minshew. Matt Ryan is still out there. He's not officially retired. There are options. I'm not sure what route they'll go. I know Nick Foles is the betting favorite to come over and be that guy behind Zach Wilson. In terms of free agency, I think I'm taking the risk on Wentz. I just think he has the highest ceiling out of all of these backups. 2 years ago in 2021, Wentz had pretty good numbers. I know stats isn't everything, but 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions for a Jets QB with this defense. And yes, I know Zach Wilson's still the quarterback, but I'm just hypothetically speaking here. They're a playoff team. If they had a quarterback last year that threw for 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, they're absolutely in the playoffs. Maybe even win a game. Absolutely in the playoffs. No doubt about it. They were only 2 games out. They were in the playoffs the second week of December. So there's no doubt in my mind. So there's definitely guys out there, and I expect them to sign one probably within the next 24 hours. I think they got to act fast. Like, week 2 is coming up. They're on a short week. It's probably the worst scenario to be in a short week. But they definitely will sign somebody in solid basis. So they're already doing their due diligence there in terms of looking to bring in a rookie quarterback. And what's my expectations moving forward, though? My expectations, I kind of teased it, is they're going to play really good defense. I'll say it now. This is the best defense in the NFL. They made Josh Allen look pedestrian. Like, Josh Allen looked terrible. And this is a quarterback who we have being the second or third best. Pick your poison. He's a top 3 quarterback in mostly everybody's list. 4 turnovers yesterday. 4. He threw like 40-something times. Only a little over 200 yards. He had a terrible game. But this defense, the amount of pressures they had numerous guys with like 3 to 4 pressures. As mentioned earlier, JFM had 8 pressures. And of course, sometimes when he scrambled, he was able to make plays. I think, at the edge, they got to be a little faster. I think that's when Jermaine Johnson will come in consistently. I think that's when maybe Will McDonald will come in at some point. Carl Lawson will be helpful when he's healthy. But this defensive line is scary good. Sauce Gardner did not really have even a good game. And then this offense for the Bills still weren't able to do anything. This defense is legit. So my expectations is the Jets defense is for real. But at the same time, it's going to make it painful the entire year. Every week, win or loss, you're going to say, what if Rodgers was there? Like, we have to go through a whole season of that. It's really disappointing. It's just gut-wrenching. I can't believe, even if he comes back, like, we have to wait a whole year. Like, we waited 5 months felt like 5 years. And yesterday, him with the flag, by the way, it was just, everything was so electric, and just the buildup was unreal. And for that to happen, I mean, I'm going to be talking about it all year. But I love this team. I do. I love the coach. They got some really good young pieces. The defense is tremendous. The special teams is really good. Like, they got a legit special teams unit. They got a really good kicker in Greg the Leg, who was huge. He was 3 for 3 in field goals. Huge. Made some big field goals. And even when they scored that touchdown to make it 13-12, they got a penalty. They had to push him back even further. He still made it. He made back-to-back extra points. He was 3 for 3 in field goals. Of course, Xavier Gibson was the hero. Special teams, again, punt return. It looks like he's going to be a legitimate punt returner, legitimate kick returner. Everyone was gushing over this kid. It seemed like the whole locker room was in agreement that he was going to take one. He was going to return one. They were that confident that it was going to happen, and it did. at the right time, overtime. So this team doesn't quit, and they showed it yesterday. And of course, you're not going to get 4 turnovers in a punt return every game. That's very rare. It might not happen again all year. That's when your offense has to come in and at least be competent. They don't have to put up 30 points. They didn't even need Rodgers to put up 30 points. Just got to be competent. So not to turn over the ball. Are the expectations as high as they were? Of course not. Of course not. And I don't really have firm expectations. I kind of have to see what this team will look like again against Dallas, who's a really good defense. They're playing really good defenses coming up. You have Dallas, good defense. You have New England, good defense. You have Kansas City. They just got Chris Jones back. Good defense. Denver, good defense. Philly, good defense. All these defenses are really good. So I think it's just a matter of making Zach's job a lot easier, not complicating things. And of course, his footwork still needs work. I mean, he didn't play great. I'm not going to sit here and say he was great. I think the first step is he has more confidence, and there's more people around him that are confident in him, and I think that's contagious. So I think that's very good for Zach. But I'm not going to sit here and say he played great. I thought he played well enough to win, especially in the second half. And that might have to be the narrative. He just needs to play good enough to win. Don't turn over the ball multiple times. Keep the ball away from the opposing offense. Put less pressure on this defense. Because this defense, I mean, hey, they're going to deliver. They're really, really good. We know that. We knew that coming in. But the real thing was, is this team a quarterback away? And I think it's a resounding yes, which is even more frustrating. And like I said, we're going to hear this bullshit all year. And I'm probably going to be the one talking about this bullshit all year about the what if scenarios. But hey, it's reality. It's just a freak thing. I still can't believe it's a thing. But you got to move on to Dallas. Have to move on to Dallas. They play on Sunday at 4:00. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with all these primetime games because it's hard to believe they're going to have Zach Wilson play 5 more primetime games. I believe the Black Friday game is set. I don't think they could flex that, but they certainly could flex the Monday and Sunday and Thursday night games. So I guess we'll see. I'm not going to really jump into that. I saw a lot of bullshit on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, about that, but I'm not really looking into that. The Jets played the Cowboys week 2. Cowboys, of course, had the largest win in their history. They destroyed the Giants 40-0 the night before the Jets played at MetLife. So MetLife was just kind of sucked all the energy out. But hey, the Jets are 1-0, dude. Like they won the game. They won the game, and it felt like it was a 0% chance, especially when it was 13-3 at halftime. And Zach Wilson just looked like Zach Wilson. The second half, he definitely was a more confident quarterback, and Allen couldn't do anything against that defense. But of course, we're going to continue to, cover all Jets. The season isn't over, man. I cannot say, oh, the season's over. No. Does it suck? Yeah, it does. We know this. It sucks so bad. But you got to move forward. And that's what we're doing here on the Turn Up the Jets YouTube channel. As always, Joe Skirdo. I'll actually do it now. You could subscribe to my channel. You could like the video if you actually liked it. Follow me on X and Instagram at Turn Up the Jets, all one word. If the Jets sign a quarterback, I will, of course, make a video immediately. We will be recapping once again for the Jets versus Cowboys game on Sunday. I do not have an expected date when I will drop that video. Possibly it'll be probably Friday, since I did it 2 days before the game and then immediately recapped. I'll probably try to do a Friday preview and then a Monday recap. And of course, if anything else breaks, whether it's Jets signing a veteran quarterback behind Wilson, or heck, even maybe a decision by Aaron Rodgers, or at least an update, I will do that. I will update you all things Jets. I hope everyone enjoyed the NFL season, or the NFL week 1, the start of the season. Definitely not the season. It feels like the Jets, the season. But Hopefully everyone enjoyed, last night's game. I know at the end of the day, I enjoyed the result on Sunday as well. Was kind of going to dive into games, but I don't have that. I don't have that in me right now. But continue to look at more. Continue to look for more content. Always appreciate the support. Always appreciate those who tune in. And we'll see you next time. See ya.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight?